Hello, folks. Today, we are going to attempt to update a Google Workspace user profile custom attribute using a Google form. First, what and why? Let's say you have custom attributes in your user profile, such as the one that I have on my screen. For this test environment in this domain, we have a custom attribute category of identity with a description of ID badge number that corresponds with a custom attribute that I have entered in there of ID badge number in camel case. Okay, now why would I want a Google form, a user, to be able to update their own Google Workspace profile custom attribute via a Google form? Or why would I want other people to be able to do that on their behalf? Well, in this use case, I'm just going to focus on a user updating this for their own custom attribute. I think it'll be clear from the script that you could easily modify this to allow people to update other people's attributes, but that wasn't the use case that created this opportunity. The use case that I was confronted with was a client uses PaperCut. PaperCut is a very popular print server, but any instance where Google is used as an IDP and you can sync custom attributes over to the external service in order to assign rights or access or whatever the case may be, you may have an opportunity where you want to do this. In this instance, what we wanted was when a user gets a new ID, they lose their badge access to PaperCut until somebody manually changes the badge number in PaperCut. Now, this always could be synced over from LDAP, but not from Google as an IDP. With recent updates, it can sync the badge numbers. So we were looking at this going, okay, well, now that we can sync the badge numbers, how do we get them in there? Do these two disparate systems talk to each other? No. Is there a straightforward way that we could script an integration? Is there anybody in-house that could, maintain that? No. Okay, well, what's a really simple thing we can do? The user wants that access. They're going to have to create an IT ticket. Why not instead just teach them to fill out this Google form, self-report their badge number. It updates this custom attribute in Google that's only used to sync over to the print server, and they can give themselves that access back without having to create the ticket, wait for somebody to be able to respond, hope everything goes well, and hopefully move on. There's my short little use case. Again, my custom attributes, the category is identity, and I have a camel case ID badge number as a custom attribute. Those are going to be important very soon. I'm going to go ahead and copy both of the values. If you are not using a clipboard manager so that you can have a little bit of clipboard history, I would definitely recommend doing so. I am using FlyCut, and you'll see I have multiple options now in my clipboard to paste from. As you can see, I am now in a new Google form. I haven't done anything to it yet. I'm going to go ahead and name this form ID Badge Updater. And this is just going to be for demo purposes. The only question that we really need to ask for the demo is the obvious: what is your new ID badge number? Oh, of course, I was looking away for a second and have a typo. All right, short answer is good for that, but let's do response validation. In my use case, the number just needs to be a whole number, and the ID numbers on the badge have a bunch of trailing zeros. Some people enter them, some people don't. Okay, I also want to make sure that we are grabbing email addresses for everyone. Let's see, this is set. I believe these are my defaults for the domain, but you'll want to make sure collect email addresses is set to verified. All right, I'm also going to go ahead and send responders a copy of their response. And the reason I'm going to do that, just in case they have a typo and it gets emailed to them and they notice it, they'll know to go back to the form and submit another response. I think that's all I need for now. Let's go ahead and link this to a new Google Sheet. We'll create a new spreadsheet. I like that name, ID Badge Updater Responses, create. Okay, now I am in the new spreadsheet in full screen, and it's just one sheet here with no responses yet because we haven't not had anybody submit the form. I'm going to go ahead and change the sheet name to form responses. I just want a clean name for when I'm using that later. So I just copied that into my clipboard again. This is where the magic happens. We're just going to use some very basic Google App Script. If you're not familiar with it, all you need to do is go to Extensions, App Script. This is going to create a new app script project, and by doing it that way, it's automatically linked back to that spreadsheet, which is automatically linked to the form. So all of these things are kind of tied together. It does not assign it a name. So now we need the code that I've already created. The link is in the description of the video, and it's just on a public GitHub post. Okay, in GitHub, I just need to copy all of the code in this one file and then bring it back over to the AppScript project. In the AppScript project, let's just go ahead and highlight the lines of code that are there by default, and we will delete those, and then we will paste in our new code. The code doesn't do a whole lot. You'll see the first thing that I have commented in here. This code requires you to add a service in your Google App Script project named admin SDK API with the identifier of admin directory. We'll go ahead and do that now. Here it is. And you'll see there's the admin directory identifier. Now that that is successfully added, we'll be able to use that in the code. The top portion then goes on to have 4 variables that you need to update. The first thing you need is the spreadsheet ID for the spreadsheet that was created for form responses. Let's grab that real quick. These are just in the URL. That's really the easiest way to grab them. I'm going to copy that, go back over to my updater script, and paste that in where I have the constant set to spreadsheet underscore ID equals that file ID in Google. Okay, now we need the sheet ID. You may remember I renamed that to form responses in camel case, and that should be in my clipboard as well. Yep, form responses. I copied it just to make sure I didn't recall it incorrectly or type it incorrectly. The custom schema name in the admin SDK API is the same as what we see as the category of the custom attribute in Google Workspace admin. So mine was, I believe, named identity. I'm going to go ahead and paste that back in there. Yep, there it is. And again, I just prefer copy and paste to reduce the potential errors. And then the custom attribute, I believe, was ID badge number all in camel case. All right, there we go. Now, that's all you have to do in the code to get it to work. We just have a couple more steps before we're fully functioning. And I do just want to explain the code a little bit. So you'll see I just create a function here, and there are some comments that describe that the following section opens the spreadsheet, the sheet within the spreadsheet, and then it gets the most recent response used in conjunction with a submission trigger. So we will add a submission trigger. So every time the form is completed and it adds a line to the spreadsheet, the app script will run instantly, grab that line, and perform the requested update. In any event, so yeah, we're opening the spreadsheet, we're getting the one sheet by its name, and then we're going through the first column just to figure out where our last row of values are, and then once we do, we grab that row and we say that the custom attribute value is in column B of that row, and the user account cell, so the cell that contains the user's email address, which is also their username for the update purposes, is in column C of the last row. So we do that. We kind of put that together and grab that information, and then we try to push that data via this admin directory.users update. And we're running an update, which I've crafted above using the constants that you set the values of in the first portion. And it attempts to push that up there. It then has a console log message of the status or if there was an error. Okay, so we really need to test this code. I'm going to go ahead and save it. We will head back over to the sheet and put some dummy data in there. The timestamp will get collected when the form is submitted. We don't have a timestamp right now, but I just need some value in there for that script to see. And email address, we can just use the test account that I use for these demos. And what is my new ID badge number? It is 8675309. So this is just pretending somebody submitted the form so that we can go back over to the badge updater script and test it. We are saved. Go ahead and hit run. We should have to, yes, there we go. We should have to authorize the script to do what we're asking it to do. Okay, so I just made a couple minor edits to the script so that it will work better for you. And I saved those changes, so I'm going to go ahead and run it. And it looks like it worked. The ID badge number for Kevin at TrabantTech.com was successfully changed to 8675309. Fantastic. But let's see, can we verify that? In Google Workspace admin, there are change custom attribute event types, and you'll see we have the identity.id badge number changed for this user. You'll see that it changed from 5551212 to 8675309. That looks pretty promising. And when I view this user's profile in Google Workspace admin, I do see identity ID badge number is now 8675309, and we know that that was done programmatically via the script. All right, well, let's just add that trigger so it will run automatically, and we'll test it one last time. Back in the AppScript project, the triggers are over here with the little alarm clock icon. You'll see we don't have any yet, so we will create a new trigger. Which function to run? This is in the code that I copied and pasted from GitHub. There's only one function, so leave it as is. Which deployment should run? Head, select event source, from spreadsheet, select event type. Make sure to change that to on form submit. And failure notifications, I doubt there will be any, but let's go ahead and notify me immediately and save. And it looks like it wants me to re-authenticate real quick and authorize this. Okay, so we have our new trigger. Now to the form to submit a new response. Okay, back in the form, we're going to go ahead and submit a new response. I've consented to submit my username, and my new ID badge number, we'll just go with 2222222, and submit. Submission was successful. All that really means is the information should be in the spreadsheet. Let's check the spreadsheet. Over in the spreadsheet, we do see that form submission is successful. Now, we should be able to see that that trigger in the AppScript project has run. Refreshing that, yep, it last ran at August 22nd, 2023 at 11:38, which is just now. Error rate 0%, so that should mean that the attribute was automatically updated on form submission. Let's check in admin. Over in admin, I do see in the user profile ID badge number of 2222222. Also in admin, in the admin log events, under the change custom attribute event type, I again see the log entry associated with the user update, and you'll see the data is exactly what we expected to see. So that's it. Our forum's out there. Our users can log in. They could submit their badge number, and the Google Apps script will take care of the rest of modifying that user's custom attribute. And the sync in my use case on the print server side of things happen programmatically from that side. So I'll just make sure that I turn up those sync settings so that they're grabbing fresh data as often as possible. And this should solve my problem. Well, I hope this was informative. Drop a comment below if you have any questions. I try to get to those as often as possible. And obviously do the YouTube thing, like and subscribe if this was beneficial to you in any way. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone.